all welcome to share your opinions on things too. And we'll go from there. Where's my... There we go. Now, we're going to be doing some replays here, but these replays are replays that we consider more kind of like epic games. These are games that don't require a whole lot of commentary, anything like that. They're mainly just there to watch so we can have fun and, you know, chat about stuff. So the first topic that people have been asking about is the forums. Chat, how many of you guys use the World of Warships forums? Zath's Fireside Chats. Yes.
Yes, I do.
I know Cthulhu uses it. Shane, you do? Sith Kitten? Okay. Puckhead, Hardstyles. Hardstyles, I remember seeing you on the forum. Mr. J says there is a forum? Question mark. True says sometimes. SAT says Reddit. PCS Pro Shop says yes.
What's a forum?
Hey, Happy Feet, no worries. Good night. You never use the forums, Duckman? Lol. Forums not work because Wargaming not listen. Okay, Eder. Check the forums almost every day. Don't talk a lot there, okay? Once or twice a year? Almost never? Once a year?
Budashi, that's how I am. I read it, but I don't talk a lot.
Mm-hmm. Only items of interest. Okay. Used to use it, but it's a waste of time. Forums are a place where salty people congregate and try to alt-salt each other. So, I mean, you're not wrong, SAT. So there are some specific questions that have come into play that I've been asked about the forums, and I'm going to give you guys my opinion on it, and then I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts too. The first question. You know what? Let's make this a poll. This could be fun. We're going to make this a poll because it's a yes or no question. So we're going to make this a poll. Oops. And I'm in caps, so. I'm going to give you guys 3 minutes to respond to this question. And I'm going to be talking about it, and I won't look at your responses until the 3 minutes are up. Okay? So the question is, did the forums get dumber? I don't think so. Personally, I don't think it's that they got dumber. I think that what's happened with the forums is that they've changed in terms of content. Once upon a time, the forums were a place that everybody could go hang out and talk about the game, and for the most part, be rather supportive of each other. Some of you guys have played this game since open beta, closed beta, alpha test, whatever. And some of you guys might recall way back in the day, just the relaxing nature that the forums were. Yes, there were threads where people were upset about things, and we would post stuff and blah, blah, blah. But it's changed now to the point where we get less of those threads focused on growth and improvement, and I think we get more threads of just complaining. And I don't think that that's necessarily an indication of dumber people, but I think it's just people looking to the forums as that's their outlet for that. I've also seen those kinds of threads on Reddit as well. But after Discord, see, when I first started doing the forums, that was before Discord. Now that Discord exists, I've seen a lot of people move discussion, like actual, constructive discussion from the forums to Discords. Like, for example, my Discord with Kraken, we might have a discussion, but we're in a chat that's for only Kraken members, right? So we have our talks there about ship builds, about what we think about like the commander rework, etc., etc. We don't really engage so much on the forums as much as we used to, and I think that's the case for a lot of people, especially a lot of the more skilled people. They're looking at the forums as kind of like a waste of time, for whatever reason you want to believe. Deadliest says, right, salty thread parroting the last CC he watched. Well, we've seen that too. All right, I'm going to go back up and just take a look at chat real quick and see what you guys are saying. Forums aren't worth much anymore. The hall monitor's cutting down on the fun. So, Seabear, that's actually one thing I was going to comment on is I find that the forums are more moderated than they used to be, which I actually appreciate because it gets rid of a lot of the garbage threads. Personally, like, that's how I see it. 18% of you guys said yes, the forums have gotten dumber. That's 55%. 18 votes. Used to participate in the contest they'd hold each week, but got tired of it. Deadweight, I understand completely. I loved the contests way back when under Nico Power. And I'd love to see the forums get to that point again with contests. But I think that there's just... We need more activity, more participation on the part of the player base to make that work. People seem to use the forums as a place to rant and try to change Wargaming's mind. It's not what they're there for. It doesn't work that way. Yes. And it doesn't work anyway, sorry. Yeah. Wargaming will do what they want to do. Cthulhu says since when, I'm not sure what that was asking about. SAT says supportive, probably back in 1990s. No, this is... You know... Really, before the internet was born? Okay. You think we got smarter? It's just as much ignorance, salt, and bad faith debate as always. That's true. That's true. I do remember the DD Mafia. Ever since the rework, the level of incoherent rage has exploded exponentially. Well, that's very true, Cthulhu, because people want to share their opinions, and honestly, I think a lot of people, they don't, you know, I think a lot of people don't really take the time to form the opinions that, you know, like matter to them. I think they just take a look at what's going on and just, you know, kind of copy pasta those opinions at times. Speaking of which, this is an interesting game. If you guys have noticed, we've started with the full lemming and now it's flipping around, which is interesting. All the discussion, yeah, exactly. That's what I was just saying, Raining. All the good discussion moved to Discord, yeah. Should we mention the old forum member who was concerned with professionalism? Oh, Kyogure! Oh my god, Kyogure! I remember that dude. I remember that dude. Complain about CV. So it's unfortunate because there's a lot of possibilities for positivity, but it's easy for things to get dragged down. Reddit, I find, is a similar case, and I feel like that's something that is it's going to be hard for them to get back to the old way. Great One says people see the forums as a no-win with wargaming, as seldom do their asks or complaints get any traction. We feel that way as players, don't we? And I don't know. I've had some instances where things that I've said in the forums actually managed to get implemented into the game. Believe it or not, I was one of the early supporters of the Save a Star system and was calling for it way back when. And Wargaming made it happen, whether I was right or wrong. You know? It happened. M13 says he received his Belfast from a forum contest, and I saw somebody earlier said something about the Corgi flag as well. Yep. Oh, Zebulus, this was way before I was a CC, my dude. This is back when I was just a normal player. This was like Season 2 of Ranked. Season 3, when I was really struggling to rank out. I ranked out Season 2. I failed to rank out Season 3 and 4. And I think the next time I ranked wasn't until 5 or 6 or 7. Something like that. You pointed out a graphics error in the Perth and they fixed it. There you go. Alright, so that was the first question. Have the forums got dumber? Where's my planner? The next question. Oh, do we feel like there's a large influx of forumites that are stating falsehoods about game mechanics or intricate game knowledge? I don't think that they're doing it willingly, but yes. Yes, I think that there's a bunch of people who aren't quite sure of themselves and their own abilities, and then they're complaining because they don't understand why things are working a certain way. Somebody mentioned Osconce's thread on the forums earlier about, like, you know, let's talk about things from a CV player's perspective and vision and spotting, and he goes into all this detail and draws things out. And I think that's great. I think that's a really good thread for people to be able to follow. Unfortunately, a lot of the people that respond to that, they don't know any better. And as a result, you end up in this situation where people are like very, very, you know, unfortunately very condescending, I guess, towards other people. You know, and then you get into the whole toxicity of people stat shaming and blah blah blah. And that's where, unfortunately, you know, the moderation is helpful, because it just gets rid of a lot of that garbage, at least. But yes, there's a lot of false information all over the place. There's a lot of it. And sometimes we, the CCs, are responsible for that. And that's something that really frustrates me at times when I see a fellow CC that is propagating the wrong perspective on things. Oh, look, it's Wings fan. SAT. I'm not here to name names of current any CC, but you know, it's challenging because you see a video and you develop your own opinion. I had an opinion too, and I shared my opinion, but I said that was my own opinion, and I'm sure that I was wrong on some things. When we revisited the commander skills, I did admit that Deadeye seemed to have some merit, and I didn't mind putting it on a core battleship build. That being said, I still don't believe it's the end-all be-all, like you have to have this or else you're gonna lose kind of a skill, but it's definitely something that helps a player if they know what they're doing. Opinions are fine and open to debate. As long as people are willing to listen at the same time that they speak, that's fine. I'm going to go on a limb here and say I think that the issue with the forums is indicative of a bigger problem in our real world, which is that people are more interested in talking and less interested in listening in general. And I think that's the really big issue. When you give false info that's really researched, that's easily researched, yes, that's true. All right, so all right, and I'm trying to be careful here because, guys, I mean, I know, you know, people are going to form their opinions of me and what I'm saying and stuff like that. I'm not trying to offend people, so I'm trying to be careful in saying things in a way that will, you know, for the most part, doesn't offend, you know, people with my opinions. So there you go. Fewer people actually know what they're talking about. I think going back to what I talked about earlier with people leaving it in favor of Discord and stuff like that for those discussions is a big part of that, because you lose a lot of the connection with people as well. I'm very, very grateful that on my Discord we have Happa Fodder, who likes to comment and interact with us in Kraken, and it's awesome that he's in there and he's doing that, because he's getting some information and ideas to pass along and stuff, and answering things as well from a very different perspective, and maybe being a little bit more open than you would otherwise. But I'll tell you, like, it would be nice if he didn't have to go to Discord for that thing. We're going to pause for a second and watch this drive-by here by Treyarch. Textbook drive-by right there, Treyarch, my dude. Well done. Well done. Yeah, you know, I try not to be an oh my god, this okay. Chat, this pocket has a little small pocket within it on the right side, which I think is just perfect for a phone. Holy crap. Or keys, it's got like a netting to, yes. It fits my phone perfectly, holy crap. Anyway, sorry, I just got distracted. Who needs main battery? Low booster? Damn right. Oh, cool. TX Cowboy won something. So anyways, one thing I do want to say is I do appreciate... I do appreciate the work, and I need to call him out specifically here, that Happa has been doing, whether you like the guy or not. He's been putting a ton of effort into interacting with the community. And if things, you know, burn down and go on fire, it's not for a lack of trying. Yes, a lot of paid actors in that game, right? Texas Cowboy, say something in chat, please, so that you can claim your prize. But some of you guys that have been playing this game for a very long time, you may remember even before Nico Power. Even before Nico Power, there was a guy named Also Robots who was a community manager that unfortunately never really interacted that much with the community. And I'm not trying to throw shade on him personally, okay? But it's just, as a player, there were times where I remember saying, where the hell are you? Like what's going on? And you know, like, give us something. Tell us what's up with this game. And I think, to me, like, that's one thing that has really changed over the course of these 6 years of game development. There's a lot less hidden behind closed doors, and there's a lot more upfront for everybody. For example, test ships. When ships go into testing, all that information is out there for the public. We can see all the stats. We know the consumables that they have on them and stuff. Guys, I remember when the German cruisers were being tested, and we had no idea what the hell was on those ships. And as a player, because I wasn't a super tester then, as a player, I remember getting all super excited and taking screenshots, like literally bumping up against a Hindenburg, because I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And I was good friends with Raptor even back then, and boy, man, he was having a dino-gasm or something there, because he was like going nuts about these ships. As you guys know, he loves his German cruisers. But like, we got all this information, like, it, you know, now versus back then. We just had to find it all out. So I think that's one thing that I have to give them credit for. Best part of this stream, speaking out in amicable fashion about controversial topics. Thanks, M13. Someday I'm going to screw that up and people are going to get pissed at me and stuff, but I'm human too. CVs were very limited, planes were fire and forget in a lot of ways. Oh, the old, yeah, before the rework, yep. So that's my feelings on the forums. Does anybody else want to ask a question forum related before we move on to the next topic? And by the way, this is Deadliest. I would ping you on Discord, Deadliest, but you're here, so I don't need to. I think you're still here, right? Yeah, you're here. Okay. When can we expect a forums rework? I don't think so. Oh, PCS Pro Shop. That's awesome. Okay, that's great to hear. He says, as a former developer, if that's possible, that's true. You're never quite done with what you do, right? I have nothing but praise for folks like Happa and etc. Yeah, exactly. Like they do stuff, and that's what you know. If they die by at least engaging people, okay. I'd rather have that than a whole lot of silence and just hoping that the game is improving or whatever. Duckman says, I don't want to generate any controversy, but ... We had a forums rework as usual, deleted tons of posts and took forever. Yes, Vladeshi. I personally didn't like the removal of the upvote and downvote system. I thought that was a really good system. Instead, now we've got like the thumbs up, we've got like the confused, the waste of time, the boring, etc., and I think that's kind of, you know, Like, for example, I'm going to take a look at my stream starting up screen. There's always at least one person that reacts negatively on it. Oh, so far no reactions. Okay. But a lot of times I'll come back and I'll be like, okay, well, somebody didn't like it. Oh well. You can't please everybody. Looks like Cowboy is not here. Okay, I guess we'll move along. Next question is about clan battles. Week 1 player picks for clan battle bans. If I were wargaming ... Okay, this is something that I will... Oh, hold on. Fanto says, I don't post much in the forums, read the forums, occasionally find they are interesting and informative. Okay, there you go. This is one thing that I'm going to share that frustrates the heck out of me with their discussion about clan battles and saying, hey, we've got the ability to change it up. Do it already. Like, what are you waiting for? You know, like we all expected, as far as I know, every CC that's been commenting on clan battles and stuff, we all expected the Mogador to be an issue, right? We shared that with Wargaming. Hey, LOL, you guys are gonna do this first, right? You guys are gonna ban the Mogador first. It's been almost 2 weeks now, and they haven't done anything yet. Like, if you're gonna say that we've got the ability to change the rules mid-season, then how about you change the damn rules already? Flex the muscles, make it happen. Why the hell not? They need more data. They need more data? What? Okay. Like, and don't get me wrong, guys. Like, I'm all for, you know, having a season that lasts, what is it, 2 months, a month and a half or something like that, of like constantly getting together and playing and trying to work out timing with the wife and everything else and whatnot for the pittance of steel that we get. I'm all for that, but like, if we're gonna mix it up, it's a month and a half, thank you. If we're gonna mix it up, then let's mix the damn thing up already. Especially if it's only 6 weeks long. They said they would change the rules if indicated, not at a whim. Well, okay. So I guess the question is, what indicates a need to change the rules? We don't know that as players. Wargaming hasn't come out and said what changes, because obviously they don't want to lock themselves into something. But what I'm getting at is that if there are people that are complaining already about Mogador spam, I've seen plenty of complaints. I don't know about you guys. I've seen them on the forums. We were just talking about that. I've seen them elsewhere, etc., etc. Then the way I see it is, why not mix things up? Like, I would absolutely love to see a clan battle season where, you know, every week the rules are a little bit different, because that causes everybody to be more interested in the season. Right now, it's Mogador spam, and it's how do we counter Mogador spam? And so we come up with ways to counter the Mogador spam, and maybe that's not effective against other comms, and blah, 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 you know, and that's the problem, because when you get frustrated and you can't make it work, you got two options. You keep doing it, or you walk away. And I'm worried that a lot of people are walking away. So
it is going to be about the 8th session of clan battles today, so yeah. I'm expecting a change to be announced on Monday or Tuesday.
Me too. But actually, no. Well, yeah, I don't know. I hope that we'll get an announcement, right? That's my hope. I would love to see something. They said they would give us a heads up. They're allowing... Oh, Cthulhu. Yeah.
About that. If it's not Mogador spam, people are spamming Alaskas. And Georgias and Musashis.
Yeah. There's plenty of popular ships.
I don't think they're going to change anything. Because there's enough teams that do beat that Mogador comp because the other team just doesn't know how to do it correctly. There aren't enough teams fully just running it, the Mogador thing. And everybody's still playing, so why would they change the rules if people are still playing? Like, if everybody came together and said, hey, Wednesday, nobody's playing, Wargaming would freak out if every single clan didn't play. And, they would change the rules then. That's the only way I see that happening.
At that point, it's better to be proactive than reactive. You don't want to shoot the player base. You don't want to shoot your own player base in the foot.
Yep. Now, one thing that I gotta say, from my own personal experience as a member of Kraken, is every time we see an announcement of ranked battles, and especially clan battles and clan brawls, there's a ton of chatter on my Discord, or sorry, my clan Discord, our Discord. And that chatter is all about, you know, possible picks for ships, commander builds, synergies, positioning, etc., etc. And, like, the Discord is just, you know, going nuts with all this chatter, and like, that's cool to see, and I think that's showing a certain level of engagement, right? But if it's the same thing for 6 weeks, that engagement dies off really quickly. And to me, like, changing things around, cutting out Mogador, for example, and getting rid of that possibility for a comp, that completely changes everything else, because people that run comps that deal with Mogadors don't have to anymore, and that might free up position for a different meta to form. And that allows people to sit there and talk through it and stuff like that. You're welcome, Seabear. Good to know I was able to help you, man. So, like, to me, that's why I want to see Wargaming mixing things up again, okay? It's not because you know, I want Wargaming just to mess with the players because they can, and LOL, right? I want Wargaming to mix it up because that keeps the mode fresh. It keeps the mode different, you know? And to me, that makes it more interesting. That makes it more exciting, and something that I want to play at. If I go and play clan battles tonight, and I'm planning on it, right? I'm going to find a whole lot of... I'm probably going to find a whole lot of Mogadors. And, you know, generally speaking, we know how to deal with Mogador spam. Okay, Mogador spam is you get your anti-Mogador group together, and you wait for the Mogadors to overpush, and you have to focus fire to get rid of them. And it doesn't matter if that one is rotating back. You absolutely have to focus it and get it dead. If you can do that, great. If you can't, you lose. And I don't know, like, to me, that's just boring. There's your death pick, by the way, Deadliest. As clan seasons are short, they most likely not bother to change things.
6 weeks is not short.
It depends on how much you play. For me personally, it's a slog. It's a long season for me personally, because I do my best to be there every night.
In pretty much all the previous clan battle season, after the first few weeks, the meta generally settles. Especially when I'm talking about the last clan battles seasons where they had CVs, it pretty much settled within the first week. No major changes.
Yep.
And that made the last 4 weeks just boring, because you're doing the same exact thing over and over.
And expecting the same results. Or different, I should say.
You know what's funny is, you know, everybody complaining about the Mogador spam. Right here is the answer on why you want carriers. Because what stops that from happening? You really didn't see Mogador or Club Air spams when the CVs were around. When there were no CVs, you saw it all the time.
Yep.
Oh.
Not having Mogador Clever spam led to something worse. Just 20-kilometer Stalin Venezia.
I don't know. Clan battles has always been, you know, even back when there wasn't that. You know, it was Moscow, Des Moines, right? I mean, that was the meta. Moscow, Des Moines, Yami, and Montana. That was your meta. Stay in the back, let your DD scout, kill the DD, and then you can make your push. But it was always sit in the back and wait. It's always been a patient game.
And
sort of. But
I mean,
when I'm talking about Venezia and Stalingrad, you're literally sitting at 20 kilometers because the CV will just spot you and you get annihilated if you get too close. At least in the Moscow, Des Moines, there was a lot of alternate comps you can run and still be successful.
I saw it.
I mean,
like,
I agree with the SAT, sorry, Seth, but I mean,
go ahead.
It's, what do you want? Do you want Clever or Mogador comps or CVs? Like, it's one or the other, unfortunately. And like,
Well,
not everybody's going to be happy.
That's where the rule sets are supposed to come in, because now we don't have to deal with clever, spam, or CVs. You can just ban the clever or restrict it, so you can see more varied comps again.
I see your point, but I don't think they're gonna. I don't really see them really banning it until maybe next season or extremely late. When, like you say, the meta's already like set or calmed down, and you're only gonna run into those teams every fourth, fifth battle. So people are just gonna be like, well, we'll just deal with it if we run into it.
I mean, if the meta is set and nobody's changing it, then what we're going to see is a lot more of that particular ship being played, plain and simple. Like, I mean, you're going to see people that are basically saying if you can't beat them, join them.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's may the best Mogador team win. So, I guess that's fun.
It's pretty much become that at Typhoon Hurricane.
Right.
Just a couple of Mogador teams just running around smashing everything.
And here's the big problem with that, in my opinion, is if the lower clans get burnt out and they don't want to keep playing, then they stop playing. And that's a huge problem. And the reason it's a huge problem is because that takes them out of the pool for matchmaking, which increases the times when a team that's up in Typhoon or Hurricane, like 07, runs into somebody that's in one of the lower, which is what, Gale?
Yep.
And then that's no fun for that one. It's actually really not fun for either, because for 07, you guys are just, you're sipping your coffee while you're pew-pewing and killing them, because that's just where you guys are skill level wise. And then the other team, they're just sitting there saying, why are we even playing the game right now? Because we're just going to lose and waste our time. So,
Yep, I agree with that.
Can Typhoon see Gale?
Yes.
We have 07. I was playing with 07 last night. We ran into a couple of Gale teams.
See, I don't
We
think
waited.
that should be a thing, to be honest. I'm sorry if you have to wait, but to beat up on a Gale team is just plain outright wrong.
Yep. And the thing is, our queue times have averaged over 5 minutes. I think the longest we've had is about 8. And that's just because there's no one else in Hurricane.
So the way the clan battle matchmaker works is, once you get to about a minute and a half, the matchmaker will open itself up to look for teams that are in a wider range. So if you're a Gale team and you're waiting for a match, and you don't get a match within the first minute and a half, now it can pull teams from Storm. Wait another minute and a half. Now it can pull teams from Squall, I think is whatever. I always mix those up. But anyway, you get the idea. They reach up to the next. So that works the same way for a team that's in Hurricane. All right? You wait for somebody within your rating. Oh, nope. Okay, we're going to reach farther down a minute and a half later. So when SAT says that he's waiting for 5 minutes, it's reaching farther and farther down the matchmaking ladder. And that's what Wargaming has put in. They want to get games. They don't want players to be stuck sitting at the matchmaking screen. But the problem is that as players, as fewer and fewer teams are actually playing the game and in that matchmaker queue, you see that problem gets worse and worse over time. And that's why I think I was really excited for this season of Clan Battles, because I thought this would be an opportunity for Wargaming to encourage more diversity by doing the different bands and all that kind of stuff. And who cares if it means that you can't play the ship that you want to play for a week or two, because it allows you to adapt and try something else. That's what I was really looking forward to. You go back one sec, Shane. Go back to season 1, where it was like World of Hindenburg. Season 2 and 3, World of Moskva, etc. Like, that's okay, but it gets stale after a while, doesn't it? Go ahead, Shane.
Well, I was listening to you guys talk about the premium ships and them being so prevalent and stuff like that. Then why don't they, and this is just my opinion, Why don't they just restrict it straight to tech trees and then change the tier?
Because some people are gonna cry that the $80 ship they bought can't be played.
So they're crying anyway that they're having Colberts and Mogadors and all this other stuff going on.
I think
So
that
what? It's their game. They
I
want
think,
people to play.
I think the problem is now you're talking money. They're not going to do something that is not going to help. Like, hey, look, all these teams are using this premium ship. Maybe I should buy it. Like, at the end of the day, they're still a business and they're still here to make money. So they're not going to ban anything that somebody paid money to. Like a permanent ban, I should say. They're not
I'm
going
not
to
saying a
ban.
permanent ban. I'm just saying this for a week or something, or a season, or do the rotating bans, so that the teams are forced to adapt rather than getting comfortable in a ship that you have like they did with CVs. You have CVs are no longer available for clan battles. So why not just extend that to something else for a week and just keep rotating it?
Well,
Well-
the way they got rid of CVs was move it to tier 9.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm okay with different tiers. The problem is, I almost wish that we were doing this when clan battles was first a thing. I almost wish that, like, I almost feel it's almost too little, too late. But like, it's just, I'm not concerned about any ship in particular, as long as it's done in moderation. So for example, like somebody mentioned earlier, I apologize, I just scrolled through the chat really quickly to catch up, but somebody mentioned earlier, you don't have to outright ban a ship. You could just limit how many of that ship goes. That's fine. I'd love to see a limit of one of each ship type, or whatever. So you can only have like one Mogador, you can only have one Alaska, you can only have one Musashi or something like that. Because that forces ships to have to, you have to build a team that builds on strengths of ships, and kind of, maybe also helps to, supplant the weaknesses of certain ships as well. And I think that makes it more fun and interesting than, somebody earlier said, I have people that don't play because they don't have the meta ship. Like, do you have a Mogador? Nope. Okay, well, I guess you're not playing then. Like, that's not a good message to send to people either.
No, that's why
I'd be fine with it.
That's why you should switch up the tiers. Okay, fine. And if you don't want to ban the premium ships why not just drop it down to say to tier 6? Then
We did
Plenty
tier
of
6 a while
premiums.
back.
or tier
Plenty of-
4 or something, so you can force this change in it. So you don't want to ban the premium ships because you don't want the crybabies crying that, oh, I spent money on this ship, now I can't play it because you banned it. No, okay, fine. Move the tier. Drop the tier down.
No one wants to play a tier 4. Well,
So
many at
then
least.
don't play.
The problem
That's one of the faster ways to kill out clan battles.
the problem that I see,
They're already stale.
personally, I'd love to see a tier 4. I'd love to see a tier 3. I'd love to see a tier 2, and I'd really like to see a tier 1 clan battle. I think it'd be a lot of fun. But
It would show the players' skills off. It wouldn't be they're relying on the ship to win the battles. You're relying on the player to win the battles. Because I guarantee you, 07, you could put them in whatever tier class ship, and they will still dominate just because of their skill. They don't rely on the ship.
right,
to carry.
but like, seriously,
Yeah, I would like to enjoy it. I would like to enjoy clan battles while I'm playing it.
if we have
I
the
enjoy the lower tiers much more than I do the higher tiers because there's just so much BS going on in the high tiers.
if we have the ability
you-
to limit ships and restrict them, then I think any tier is perfectly fine. The thing that I hate the most when we see people talking about tiers, especially in competitive modes, like people looked at ranked and other stuff like that, is it's almost always people say, oh, it's just World of Blank. Like tier 7, what comes to your mind? Belfast, right? What comes to your mind at tier 6? Perth? What comes to mind at tier 5? Giulio
Tier
Cesare?
6 is a graph space spam.
In clan battles, it was absolutely. But what
Oklahoma at tier 5, please.
I'm getting at is that every tier has its ships that are overpowered and stand out. And I think that, like, there's so many ships that have been released at this point that there's absolutely no way, other than through artificial limits, to prevent specific ships from, being played and dominating a season of a competitive mode. So, doesn't matter.
I was gonna say I think the ship limit would solve a lot of the problems.
Yeah,
I would agree with that.
I think so too.
I mean, it's in COTS, isn't it?
You have a one battleship limit already. In COTS, you have a ban, but nothing that says like limit one ship specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what I'm trying to say is like, I know you don't see it in all Mogador comp and like COTS, but there's no limit on DDs, is there?
Nope.
No.
That would be Verizon tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I mean, I just think it makes sense. Just, 2 battleships, 2 DDs. That's it. That's your comp. Then next week it's, 1 battleship, 3 DDs, that's your comp. I think that would make for an interesting season.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, everybody claiming you gotta play nothing but premiums. Dude, I'm playing Donskoy. Tech tree ship, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, for the most part, everybody in Wookiee is playing mostly tech tree ships. Maybe I play a Pomeran once in a blue moon, but it's all tech tree.
I mean, I ground out my Kitakaze. Same thing. Nolo? Sorry, go ahead, SAT.
It just starts to become a problem at the very top tiers where ship picks is actually more important than player skill because everyone kind of like rounds out, so it's more dependent on what comp you bring.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you see the Mogador spam.
Nolo?
That sounds like a you problem. Stop being so good.
Nolo says, during season and clan battles, players have a ship named -C version of all the ships available at that tier. Might even help drive sales of ships. Ooh. Since if you like it, you could purchase the standard ship afterwards. That's not a bad idea, and like he says further, like we can rotate out at the end of the clan battle season or the duration or whatever as a way to kind of help players try that out, kind of like rentals. It's not a bad idea.
It would essentially be rentals.
Mm-hmm.
Are there rentals this season?
No rental.
No.
I don't know why they even stopped doing it. Like, if you want to boost participation, then just give everyone rentals and actually let them put camo on there.
Mm-hmm. Edge, you're absolutely right. A big driving factor for ships being purchased is how will this impact my abilities in game, right? And if there's a perception that a ship is OP, then they're going to buy it, and they're going to buy it quickly. If there is no perception, then they won't. That's all.
Pick ban doesn't work in the clan battles format. You go into a game with your team already selected.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say this: after doing King of the Sea and other stuff, I'm going to share my vision for clan battles, and I want you just to think about this for a second. My vision of clan battles is we get a team together. All right, so Team Kraken gets together. We've got 7 players that come in. Okay, we get matched with another team. Let's say we get matched with those 7. We get told what the map is. We have a pre-lobby that's built into the game. We can see the map. We can see who's spawning where. We can see who our opponent is. But that's all we can see. And then we have the ability of our 7 players there to choose 5 players who are going to play the battle. Okay? And those players can choose whichever ships they want to pick. Whatever the tier is, etc., etc., okay? And then the remaining, well, maybe 6 players will play it out. And then the remaining 1 person will stay on as a commander and just spectate that particular battle. They don't spectate to both sides, of course, because that would be ridiculous. But they can spectate and just watch the battle unfold, and they're not driving a ship, they're just calling. To me, that is where I'd love to see clan battles go. This is 5 years from now, guys. This isn't like tomorrow, right? But to me, that makes clan battles a much more team competitive oriented environment, as opposed to just hit the battle button and hope you run into somebody, you know, that you can beat, or that, you know, that the game's competitive, etc., etc. If you want truly competitive, don't tie it to how much a person is ground in the game. That's true. That's true.
As mentioned before, rental ships would be perfectly fine for that. If you've researched it at some point, then you get it available in your port. Treat it as a premium ship, and you can take it only in the clan battles. I would be perfectly fine with that.
Yep, and I've put in a suggestion, guys, of a hardcore mode that removes everything: commander skills, consumables, or not consumables, but because consumables have changed, but commander skills and upgrades and flags, so that it's really just you and your ship, and go ham. What, Stevie?
Wargaming's not going to do that great, so this is the next best thing. It encourages people to at least grind out the ships, and if people haven't ground out the ships, they probably don't know how it operates anyways. Do you really want them in competitive?
Like, I mean, I see no reason just to mix things up and make it, you know, something that's truly different. Anyway, I feel like we've kind of beat this dead horse at this point. Does anybody else want to get anything in before we move on to the next topic?
Can we make glue out of the horse?
Good talk. Okay.
I'm gonna have to see if the spreadsheets say anything about that. Yeah, I'm hoping the Mogador spam will end, so that we can transition into Udaloy spam.
By the way, Nolo mentioned that there was just a talk here about the maps being different. Nolo talked about a procedural map generation, and that would be very interesting. That would require a good amount of development to implement. That could also be something that could be long-term competitive related. I wouldn't mind seeing that at all either.
Procedural map is, well, yeah, the first problem is I don't think the devs are going to even implement it.
At the very least, not now. I don't think there's an interest in that.
It would stop it, but remember, World Warships is not that big of a game. Is the developers actually, is it worth it to actually invest that much effort into a mode that's already in a small game?
Yep. I'm very glad, by the way, that they're investing into like artwork and other stuff like that as well. I think there's a lot of improvements coming up ahead.
I'll be very happy when 10.2 comes out.
All right, so we'll move on to the last topic, because I do want to make sure we have a good couple hours of replay analysis here. This might take a while, so let's see what happens. Yeah, very much luck on this replay. Regarding commander skills, are people starting to self-correct and stop camping with Deadeye?
You should ask your Thunderer that.
You know what? That's a yes or no question, so I'm going to put that up in a poll as well. So I'm not looking at your guys' answers, but I'm going to make a poll here. You've got 3 minutes to answer your poll. All right. And my initial reaction to that particular question, are people starting to self-correct and stop camping with Deadeye, is yes, but I don't think that it is because of Deadeye. I think people are starting to realize that the world is not ended. I talked about this before, about in my opinion, the crux of the issue with the Commander rework is that players feel that they've been nerfed They don't care about other players. They care about themselves. And as a result, they don't feel as confident going and being aggressive or assertive or whatever you want to call it as they play the game. And it's taken, now we're about 7 weeks after the rework. And I think people are starting to like not be worried about it anymore. That's personal opinion on the matter. Anybody else want to share?
Yes. Take Deadeye and FDR. I take Deadeye and my Shimakaze Torp so I get an arrow spread. But that being said, I am happy that Wargaming is going to remove Deadeye.
And why is that?
Well, you've seen what it's done to the meta, the tier 10 meta mostly. Just people sitting super far in the back. It's just not very engaging gameplay.
Well, that is very true.
Yes. Yes, Tuckman. There's been an official announcement. I know Flammu posted something when he was still at CC, and it was announced on the official Russian stream. It was a while back.
There was an announcement on the Russian stream a couple weeks ago. I think Stevie wants on my lap, or he wants food. Well, either way, he's just sitting there looking at me. It was announced on the Russian stream, like you said, yes. The specific thing that they had said was that they are looking to remake Deadeye completely, and that it would take them about 3 to 4 weeks from the time of that stream in order to make at least the first implementation of it. Whether that hits the live server or if it goes to testing, we don't know, but that's what has been said. There has been nothing official about Deadeye posted anywhere other than in that one Russian dev stream, which is something that I do have to I kind of have to, fault Wargaming for. Is we were talking earlier about communication with players. Here's something where the players are saying, throw me a bone, and we're getting silence instead.
They probably don't know what to do with how to change Deadeye, so maybe that's why they're keeping quiet. That being said, I don't get why they would make that announcement in the first place, unless it's by accident.
Right. It almost feels like it's more just kind of trying to tell people that we're listening to you, which is fine. But unfortunately, what it does do though is it creates the expectation that something is coming, and that something is going to be an improvement or better than the current implementation. That remains to be seen what that is, but now you've started a clock, essentially, right? And you've started a timer, I guess is the better way of saying it, and people are now expecting for something to come. Educase wants me to pet Stevie. Okay.
As a side note, this rock is probably better in clan battles. You don't actually have a shot on anyone that tries to take the caps.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even that good in clan battles, it's too vulnerable.
Harley_Quinn_1 just resubscribed for 9 months.
Yeah, the player base in general is pretty slow to react, so people are not going to change their reaction to Deadeye unless it's physically removed.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Harley Quinn, thank you for the resub. 4 months in a row, 9 months total. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. PCS Pro Shop, how many times do you have to pay 500 doubloons to change commander skills after it stopped being free, just in time for that to expire? Thanks, Wargaming. So, again, we don't know what they're going to do when they implement the change. My expectation is that they would do something, either that being a free respec for anybody that had Deadeye, at the very least, to just free respecs for all captains, if you think about it, the way that they've done the rework now, that you can put a captain, any captain, on a premium battleship and equip it with Deadeye means that, in theory, every captain should be respect. So, like, I don't know. I don't think that wargaming is going to particularly force you to pay more doubloons now that free respecs are done to spec out of Deadeye if players don't like the changed the changed skill. I don't think they're going to do that, because if they do, they're just going to lose an awful lot of player efficacy, right? So I don't think that's going to be the case, but we're going to have to see. Keep in mind too, you can also respec with commander experience, which personally I would do over doubloons if you have the commander XP. Conklin, no, I did not notice you did a cover my replay. Where is it? I see it. Take my pick of the two. All right, Conklin, I need to know what the two are, because I don't remember and I put them in my folder. So, Morgan's afraid to give details at early stages of tweaking because they might change. Yep. And then people are going to be upset over it if it doesn't get changed the right way. Yep. PR training to employees. Yeah, we've talked about that before, haven't we? You know, they're a company that, you know, makes mistakes just like any other humans. You know, hopefully they aren't fatal.
Well, I'm pretty sure the Yoshino and Thunder are being very useful back there.
Uh-huh. Well, and then you got the Arpeggio Yamato up on the 3 line there. That's an interesting spot too. Dutch says...
When they changed...
Go ahead.
When they changed Deadeye, I'm hoping they also change a couple of the other skills. Outnumbered for cruisers is one example. Dazzle for destroyers is another. Like some of these... like Deadeye gets the brunt of being one of the worst design skills, but there's a lot of other skills that are currently just too niche or useless.
Well, and that's one thing I commented on when the rework first hit, was these are activated skills, and because they're activated skills and totally new skills, you can't just expect them to be 100% fair and balanced as soon as they get released. So, you know, it's gonna be a while, and right now Deadeye is you know, caught the brunt of that anger of the people, so to speak. But you know, you're absolutely right. There's other skills that need to be looked at as well. Dutch says, I think they had to do something. Looking at EU, a whole lot of people complained about Deadeye, the disastrous impact it had on an already problematic meta. Some of the other rework skills, including or lack thereof, including CCs, it was proverbial drop or straw that broke the camel's back. Yes, that's true, Dutch.
It's not just EU. NA was also complaining quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. Cthulhu says, I think a lot of the player base needs a short shock and not always getting what you scream for. That's, I suppose, true. Doesn't change the fact that some people latch on to work in progress content as some kind of promise. That's true. M13, yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm glad I did that too. I took an hour and a half before the patch dropped that got rid of the free respecs, and I reset every single commander for every single ship and verified that all the other possibilities for that commander, like I checked that they had been respec'd on their cruiser skills and their destroyer skills and their battleship skills, etc., etc. And to me, that was huge. I'm so glad I did that.
The new Demo Expert is okay for the destroyers. It's not ideal, but it's at least viable.
What expert?
Pyrotechnist.
Oh,
it's okay if you put it on something like Haragumo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's interesting that you mentioned that, because I had commented on another CC stream and was immediately told, no, it's not worth the points. And I remember thinking to myself, like, all right, like I'll just shut up then, because I'm not gonna, I'm not going to engage in a slap fight with another CC or anything like that. But we have our opinions, and I think what's cool about this game is that they can be different. And
Nah, I just politely tell him he's wrong.
having all these different builds and stuff, I mean, that's the whole idea, right? Like, that was what Wargaming's stated goal with this rework was.
Yep, except a couple skills are still must-haves, like Concealment Expert for most destroyers.
Right. All right, Coughlin, we'll find the Gascon game. Just because we don't cover the Gascon that much, if that's okay with you. Okay. Grease the Gear should also get some... Well, okay. Yeah, the Grease the Gear's problem is more that it's a percentage increase in turning. It's not a flat increase, and that's difficult. Players and CCs and super testers saying something's not right, and Wargaming not listening to them. I mean, yes, there have been cases where we've said, don't do this, it's bad, and they've done it anyway. And we've said, see, we told you. And they said, my bad, essentially. It's their game, guys. I mean, I'll give them feedback, I'll tell them what I think, but
And as much as we love to think we know everything, even the player base gets things wrong. Remember how RPF destroyed the World of Warships, made it unplayable?
Mm-hmm. Just catching up.
So yeah, Wargaming definitely gets things wrong, and we give them flack for that. But we shouldn't pretend that the player base knows everything as well.
Yep. Oh.
I mean, you do get some things right.
PCS Pro Shop, I'm sure you as a developer, I'm reading your thing about saying we should always consider reaction should be more moderate. Anger, certainly. Frustration, sure. But either way, Wargaming obviously make decent enough products to engage. The numbers that they do, sometimes even bad attention, is still attention. As a developer, I'm sure that if somebody comes to you and says, fix your game, it's broken, it's all bloppity blop blop, and then, here's what's wrong with it, and I'm never coming back and stuff, you're probably not really willing to listen to them anymore about what's wrong with your game. And I think that's where a lot of the players, don't understand. If I go to Wargaming and I say, fix your game, and this is what's wrong with it, they're not going to listen because I'm just insulting them. If I go to your face and say you're ugly, then start giving you constructive feedback about something that you've done, you've already turned yourself off to any sort of feedback, right? So I think I agree with what you're saying, that the player base definitely needs to be a little bit more moderate in how they give feedback to Wargaming. And we'd all love Wargaming to listen, sure, but throwing tantrums isn't going to help Wargaming listen. Okay, I'm just catching up on chat.
I guess we'll see what Deadeye turns into. That being said, I don't. People will give Deadeye a lot of flack, but I don't think it'll solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, cruisers already have access to lighthouse builds. Thunder is already out there spamming HE. It will do the exact same thing, Deadeye or not.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you really going to fix the super passive tier 10 meta, when in fact you've actually made it much worse? Deadeye is one thing, but people forgot that lighthouse builds exist.
Mm-hmm.
But now you have max distance, HIV, Hindenburg, farming cruiser just sit in the back.
Now, just so you guys know, the lighthouse build is when you spec for anti-concealment, so that you're always detected, so that you're always getting that 8% bonus to your top grade gunner skill. That's activated. That's what he's talking about there.
Mm-hmm. You combine that with plus 10% to HE damage, and you have a very powerful farming cruiser. And farming cruisers love to farm battleships pushing in. So even if you got rid of Deadeye, you still have Thunders with pretty accurate shells hitting battleships, and you have farming cruisers farming these battleships. Gremlin's still gonna cry, or GK. They're all gonna still cry with their secondary builds.
Right.
Yeah, you're gonna have people like me that's running those lighthouse builds, is just sitting behind the battleships, just going, "Okay, cool. You got rid of Deadeye. You just brought the battleships closer to me."
And one more reason why carriers should still be in the game.
Yeah. And you talk about Thunderers. My
Whoa.
play in my Thunderer has never changed from the day I got it. It just got better accuracy. That's
Guys,
all I did.
This is a new map. Sorry to interrupt and get into the and cut you guys off with the
Sorry to
discussion.
derail the conversation.
But I think we've been talking for a bit, and I appreciate everybody giving their thoughts and opinions on the matter. I think it's time to move on. Let's do some marbles. Let's get something out. Puddin', what do you want to give away this time?
The CC crate?
Sounds good. Let's do a CC container. I'm going to join in as well. Start the countdown. We're going to run a 3-minute ad. As we're going to our replay portion of the stream, you know what that means. So I'm going to go get it. And I will be back. All right. Guys, thank you for sticking around that discussion. That was really good. Hey. Dirty water, get. Wife aggro in the lead right now. What is that?
That's because wife aggro always wins in the end.
That is very true. Oh, whoa, whoa. Did you just see that? Got like meteors that are crashing down on the. Wow, this is a cool map. As Wife Aggro gets stuck and bombed by a meteor. This is cool. Duckman says, I was in the lead, you saw it. Let's take a look at Keo818 here. Remember guys, this is for a CC container. You have to be a follower to win, and that's it. Eisenhower's is here. What's up, dude?
Ninjustu user is now following.
Get Lady Zath to model the clothes loot. I don't know if you want that necessarily.
Oh my. I'm not even sure how we should take that, Z.
Yeah, I don't know. Ilium says my marble needs Deadeye. Alright, let's go back to the race here and see what's going on. It's been a whole lot of just Keo way out in front and everybody else stuck in the back somehow. This might be a very easy... It's going to be an easy win for him. Look at that, the finish is right here. Interesting. Okay, well, we're going to go and leave him behind. Let's go take a look at the rest of the map. Great One is in third place. Cthulhu... Oh, look, there's me. So nobody, like... gets out, but I guess he beat all the meteors essentially. Oh nope, Zebalus is down. Seabear's down. Oh, it's because of the wipe. Here comes the wipe. The wipe is catching a lot of people. Gandalf Sith Kitten's about to get wiped.
I don't want to get wiped.
Rip. There you go. Gandalf is next. Yeah, Keo, you dodged them all, right?
No.
Boop. Marble got popped. Deadliest just fell off the level, it looked like. Eisenhower's is rolling backwards. Oof. So this one was pretty brutal, I guess, if you couldn't get out ahead of everything, huh? Coughlin is stuck. Look at everybody just going down now. 8 seconds left. I got wiped out myself. Dutch is gone. Triarch is gone. There it is. No one else finished. Wow. Wow. That's interesting. Alright, so let's get into our replay portion. We're gonna start with the lightning. That was from last